This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. All right. Well, praise God. Thank you, Lord. Glory be to Jesus forevermore. Welcome to our session today, folks. This is iPad for all computing, continuing right along. And on this beautiful April day here, we're going to be talking about reminders today. And the first thing I'd like to do is to try to kind of define the difference between a reminder and a calendar event, because if you look at some people's calendars, they use those for what really could be considered reminders as well. And of course, that's personal preference. There is no right or wrong to this thing. But overall, there are some definite differences in the two apps, and then there's some overlap, right? We mentioned on Monday in the previous session that you can actually use the Apple Calendar app to schedule reminders and to view your scheduled reminders. That's going to make a lot more sense today once we get started with this thing. But basically, just understand that there are definitely ways of, using the two apps together. But the Reminders app is designed first and foremost as a list maker, a list making app. So let's focus on it from that perspective for a moment, and then we'll kind of build out to where this gets into schedules and things of that nature. So I think of, and again, there's no right or wrong, it's personal preference, but I think of calendar events as, lunch with, my pastor and I have lunch every week. I might put that on the calendar. Or we have a family event, a game we're going to, or some other kind of event. Our vacation is on the calendar, meetings and classes and things that I teach with clients and so forth. These are all events, many of them in person, a lot of them online too. And so it doesn't really matter whether it's in person or online, but the idea behind it is these are actual events. Some of them are recurring, some of them are all day, many of them are one time, but it's there's all of the above. And so this is how events work. And we taught you all about that in the previous session. Many of these events are, things that happen more than once. And when we schedule them, we can get suggestions to use the same information. We can have the travel time, we can have the alert times, we can have invitees, all of these sorts of things. Now, reminders. That's a whole different animal. So reminders, again, it's designed first and foremost for lists, grocery lists, other shopping lists, packing lists, maybe lists of chores that need to be done. And just like calendar, and just like all the Apple apps, really, reminders is certainly integrated with iCloud so that you can have all of your reminders synced across all of your devices. But not only that, you can have shared reminder lists, just like you have shared calendars. So I really want to urge you to think about reminders from the perspective of lists. When you first open reminders for the very first time, you will have a default list called reminders, and I'm going to show that to you in a moment. You'll also have what are known as smart lists. Now, these are lists that are sort of aggregated based on other factors, okay? So you might have a smart list of completed reminders. That is, those are reminders that you have marked as complete. You might have a smart list of all the reminders that are due today. so you can see those. All reminders with a schedule, because not every reminder needs to have a schedule. Remember, it's a list app. We're thinking about it from that perspective. So we're going to show you those smart lists, and we're going to show you the individual lists, the default one being reminders. But remember, you can make your own lists in reminders as well. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. You can share a list collaboratively. And so if you are using family sharing, you automatically get a family reminders list. And you can put reminders on that for the whole family to see. And you can even designate reminders to a specific participant in the list. All of this is stuff that I'm going to show you. But keep in mind that at its most basic form, the Reminders app allows you to make lists on a continual basis, literally typing one item in, pressing return, typing the next item, pressing return again, and just to continue typing. Now, this especially comes in handy with grocery lists, and we're going to see that there is a specific built-in template for grocery lists that makes it really desirable to use use reminders for grocery lists, because they'll have the categories that you might find in the store. You can recategorize things. Again, you can sync these across. Not only will they sync across all your devices, but they also are able to be shared with an entire family. So you could be going to the store and one of your kids can add something to the list. You can immediately see that on the list. It gives you a notification and it immediately shows up for you. So there's a lot of tremendous benefit to using this in that way. Now, there are other types of, you can make your own categories on lists as well. And there's just so much more that we can do. Once we create lists or individual items on that list, then we can also do things with those items. So let me just say this. There are lists and there are reminders. A reminder is one item on a list. Okay, so if your default list, which it is just called reminders, and you put something on that like take out the garbage, that's a reminder. That's one item on that reminders list. Water the plants. That's one item on that reminders list. And each item can have special attributes. So you can attach an alert to a reminder. Now it becomes a scheduled reminder if you choose to assign a date or a time to that reminder. So I need to remember to take out the garbage every Thursday night. So I have a date and time reminder for that particular, a date and time alert, for that particular reminder. You need to water the plants every Sunday. So that's a date and time alert that goes with that particular item on the list. Now, you're going to find out that date and time alerts are not the only kind of alerts you can have associated with your reminders. You can also have location-based alerts. And these are things like, okay, I need to remember to call my wife when I leave work. I need to remember to take out the ground meat to defrost it, take it out of the freezer when I get home. When I pass by the grocery store, I need to get milk. Well, these are location-based alerts that you can attach to your reminders. And what happens is that it sets up a geofence and around whatever location you've specified. When you get to that location or when you leave that location, it's going to give you the notification. And you can also have person-based reminders. These are reminders that, okay, remind me when I'm talking to Trainer Sarah or Trainer Cliff to ask them about the schedule for next season. So when I'm messaging that person, it's going to give me an alert. So there's a lot of alert options that you have, and we're going to show these to you as well. So that is a bit of an introduction to the way this app works and the kinds of things you can do with it. But again, I'm going to say, and I know it might sound strange to hear me repeat this over and over right now, but you're going to see why in a minute or two. Keep in mind, please, that the first and foremost purpose of this app is list making, okay? And that's going to explain a lot of why things look the way they do when we get into this app. So let's go ahead We'll do a screen share. What a great crowd here. Praise God. All right. Well, let's do a screen share. And now let's get our original sound going. Okay. Now.
Sound button. More button. Picture-in-picture displayed. Hot dogs. Milkshakes. Home. Camera. Maps. Reminders. 3 tasks due today.
Okay.
Double tap to open.
Notice there's a badge on that. Let's open up the Reminders app.
Reminders. Set due date button.
All right. Let's touch the left of the screen.
Zoom. Video today. Search more. Hide sidebar button.
Notice there's a sidebar and it's showing right now. In the Mail app, we had a sidebar, and you're going to see more sidebars in more apps as we continue exploring. Remember that a sidebar is like a vertical bar with its options along the left-hand side of the screen. It can be shown or hidden. I'm going to hide it for a moment.
Show sidebar button.
Now you'll see.
Show set due date, but set location, flag, but add tag, share list, but more, but reminders, heading.
All right, so we are in the reminders list. We already heard that.
31 completed.
Now, you can show or hide completed items in a list. I have mine apparently showing.
Clear button.
Because right next to that 31 completed is a clear button. And that would allow me to immediately clear all completed items. But I also want to point out.
Take out the garbage, incomplete. Tomorrow at 10 p.m. Weekly, tag chores. Pack the library books, incomplete. April 6th, 2025 at 9 p.m. every week on Monday. Double tap to mark as completed.
And notice they're saying double tap to mark as completed.
Take out the garbage, incomplete. Tomorrow at 10 p.m. Weekly, tag chores. Double tap to mark as completed.
So to check off a reminder, it's as simple as double tapping it. And if you are not using VoiceOver, there's a circle. There's an empty circle beside the list item, the reminder, and the task or whatever it is. You can just tap on that to mark it as completed, okay? And if you are not showing your completed items, then they will disappear. There is a button over here if we go to the left.
Remind more button.
It's called More, and I think for non-VoiceOver users, it's going to be the 3 dots, the ellipsis. Under this option under this menu is the option to show or hide completed items, among other things. Let's just take a look. This More button is specific to the list that we are in. We're in the reminders list. That's the default list.
View as columns button. Show list info button. Select reminders button.
That's like your multi-select.
New section button.
Well, we have no categories or sections in this particular list, but...
Sort by manual button. Hide completed button.
And there's the option I was talking about to hide the completed items. They're already showing, so that says hide. If they were hidden, it would say show. In the grocery list, I tend to like to keep them hidden because as I'm walking through the store then, I don't have to see the completed items. And that way there's no chance of confusion. I mean, if I listen long enough, I'll know whether it's complete or incomplete, but it saved me a lot of time if I don't have them showing. When I get home from the store, I want to show them so that I can clear all the completeds, because that option to clear is only available if you show the completed items. All right?
Save as template button. Print button. Delete list button. Customize toolbar but dismiss context menu.
You can see there's lots of items there, and I'm going to dismiss that.
Dismiss context menu.
And,
show side.
You know, you can see that we can print this list. We can make a template out of it so we can use it for other lists. You know, there's a lot of things we can do here. But this is the default reminders list in it. It has things in it like take out the garbage and those sorts of things. And I have a family reminders list I could show you. And, of course, we're going to show you how to create reminders and create lists. Now, let's look at this button that says clear.
Flag, but add tag, share list, more, reminders, 31 completed.
Those are things that I've marked as completed already, and just to its right
clear button
is a clear button. Again, we will not see this if our completed items are hidden, But since they're showing, we have this option, and I'm going to do this.
Clear completed reminders.
You go to the right.
All completed button. Dismiss context. All completed button.
Now, there may be more choices depending on when your completed items were, if they were scheduled, like it has like, completed within the last so many days or whatever, even if they weren't scheduled, I guess, really. But in this case, it's just going to be all completed or dismissed. So I'm going to do this.
All completed. Alert. 31 completed reminders will be deleted from this list. Delete 31 reminders button.
Okay.
Pack the library book.
They're all things that have been completed already. Now swipe left.
Take out the clear dimmed button. 0 completed.
See, now that's grayed out. Can't do that because there's no completed items remaining. All right, so this is our reminders list. It is the default list. And we can literally start adding things to it by looking at the very bottom of the screen here on the right.
Toolbar, new reminder button.
And there's a new reminder button. And if I double tap on that, it's going to bring up a blank edit field that I can immediately type and then press return. And that adds a new item to the list. And then I can repeat the process. I can keep adding more and more things to the list and pressing return after each item. I will demonstrate that in another list for you in a few moments, but just remember, that's how it works. If you want to edit the details of a reminder, then that, for example, you want to add a date and a time alert or a location-based alert or change the priority or the, any of these kinds of things on a particular list item, you have that option. There's a few ways. If you're cited, you'll see an I symbol. You can tap on, and for those who are voiceover users, I think it says enter detail or something like that, and I'll show you that. There are some shortcuts above the keyboard to quickly turn on a date and time alert or to quickly make a note about your reminder, or there are some other things. Again, just to point this out so that it's very, very clear. Why is that different? Like in the calendar, I don't have to do that, right? In the calendar, I just open up new event or add, and then I get this new event screen. I have all the details right there. The name of the event, the location, the date, the recurrence. Why is it different in reminders? Why do I have to go to enter detail? Well, because this is a list app. And so you may not have details on that particular list item. You may just want to keep making new list items by pressing return each time. And it puts those items right in the list. So that's why this is different from the calendar in the way that you add reminders. But again, to get started, that add reminder.
Toolbar, new
reminder at the bottom.
New reminder.
Now,
test incomplete. Double tap to mark as completed.
There's a reminder.
Use the rotor to access completed tasks, incomplete tasks, overdue tasks.
And notice there are some good rotor options here for incomplete tasks, complete tasks, and overdue tasks. Again, those are context. They're contextual rotor items. You don't have to add them. They just appear here in the Reminders app. Praise God, and you can use that. But I also want to point out, this is an item I had in here called test, which I just strictly did for testing purposes. It has no attached alerts or anything, but it is incomplete.
Tried. Test incomplete. Double tap to mark as completed.
We might as well mark it as completed. But look what happens if I swipe up or down with one finger. We have rotor options.
Indent. Delete. Flag. Show details. Edit title. Enter detail. Add note. Drag item. Activate. Default.
And for our sighted folks, there is a... if you kind of, I think, hold on this and swipe to the left, you can actually delete it rather than marking it as complete. I'm just going to mark it as complete to show you how that works, though.
Test incomplete. Test completed.
And now you'll see
test completed.
That it's still...
Double tap to mark as incomplete.
It's still there, but it's marked as complete. Again, that's because I have my completed items showing in this list. If they were hidden, that would actually have disappeared completely now and entirely, although it would be in the completed items, section, but you just have them hidden. But let's go up here and see if there's another one.
Tried. Incomplete.
There's another
Double
test,
tap to mark
but
as
I called
completed.
it try it. This time I'll delete it.
Indent. Delete. Performed action. Delete.
Okay, so...
Test. Call Thomas about charge the meta quest. Others. Incomplete. Double tap to mark. Lighthouse. Incomplete. Spirit life. Incomplete. Charge the meta quest and put the milkshake out when I get home. Incomplete.
Now,
tap to mark as
some of these, let's just suppose I want to look at the details on these to kind of give you a feel for what that's like. I can select one.
Others, indent.
And I can
add note, enter detail.
I can choose enter detail.
Cancel button. Cancel.
Now,
button.
there's a cancel button so that if we want to not make any changes, we can hit cancel and get back to our list. But we're on the details screen for a particular list item now, so let me show you what kinds of things are here. If you go to the right.
Details, heading, done, button. Title, others, text field.
So if I want to change that title, again, this was just a test or something that got on there somehow, but again, we're just going to leave the title as it is for now.
Notes, text field.
Now, you have a second
tap to edit.
You have a second edit field, which is notes. It's for notes if you want to make any notes about a particular list item.
URL, text field.
You have a URL field if there is a website that relates to the list item.
Date, off, collapsed. Time, off, collapsed. Tags, button.
Okay, notice you have date and time. They are both collapsed. If we expand those, we can actually pick a date for this, and we can, add information about it that would be relevant to that. So tags, if you tag something, that becomes where the smart lists come into effect. Like you can make a smart list that encompasses everything with a certain tag and, those kinds of things. Or there are different ways to, actually it already has those now that I think about it. You can view by tag, but there's other purposes for the smart lists. So if we look at
location, off, collapsed.
That's
double tap to expand controls and enable.
Right, that's the one where when I get home or when I leave or when I pass by a certain location, I can get this reminder. So that's location.
When messaging, off, collapsed.
There's the one that I told you about when you're talking to a particular person, you want to be reminded.
Selecting this option will show the reminder notification when chatting with a person in messages.
Okay.
Flag, off.
You can flag it.
Priority, none.
You can set
double tap to show context menu.
Right, so we can double tap that to bring up a menu. We can set a custom priority level for the reminders.
List, reminders, list badge, cyan blue, button.
And this is a way of changing what list this item goes to. It's going to the default reminders list. That's what we're in right now. But if I double tap on that, it will show me all of my reminders lists, and I can choose to put it on a different list if I want to.
Subtasks, 0, button.
Now, subtasks is very interesting because if you have, I gave the example a few minutes ago of like water the plants every Sunday. But if I want to specifically designate which plants I need to water, or maybe I have a reminder like pay the bills, and there's 5 different bills I need to pay, I can make them all subtasks within this one list item called pay the bills. All right?
Add image, button.
You can add a photo.
Add image, button.
And that's it. Now, let's go back up here.
Cancel, button. Close, button. Others, incomplete.
Okay, and I'm gonna...
Chart, others, incomplete. Indent, delete. Performed action, delete.
All right, so what I'd now like to do is I'd like to create a reminder. And we're going to call it, let's see. We're going to call it Start the Experience Lab or Start Experience Lab so that hopefully we'll have time to do that today. And so I'm going to set that for about 3 o'clock Eastern time. So let's go down here.
Toolbar, new reminder.
All right, I'm in an edit field. And we're just going to start typing.
Cap T E T space.
I misspelled that, I think. Hold on. Let's see what I did. Yeah.
Space.
Start.
Cap O.
Experience.
Space. Cap K.
Whoops. Lab. Now, when I've done typing this, I want you to remember this is a list. So if I press return right now, it adds that item to the list and moves me to another edit field where I can type a new list item. Return. If I do that, it's gonna give me a new edit field. But now notice up near the top of the screen, first of all, let's check directly above the keyboard, like above the letters U, I, and O.
U, labels, tab, lab.
That's my autocorrect and quick types, but go to the left here.
Paste, dimmed, button.
There's always a paste button on the on-screen keyboard on the iPad, which is very nice.
Redo, dimmed, undo, button, edit details, button, notes, text field. Title, text field, is editing. Start Experience Lab, character, test, completed.
Okay.
Title, text field, is editing.
And then you go to the list. Notice, though,
Notes, text field, edit details, button.
Notes,
undo,
and edit details. So right off the bat here, I can add a note to this reminder, or I can edit the details. Now, at the very top of the screen,
flag, button, add tag, button.
There are some other choices.
Share list, button.
Share list is for collaboration, but that's not what we're...
More, button.
Go to the left.
Add tag, button. Flag, button. Set location, button. Set due date, button.
See, so I have these quick items.
Reminders, heading.
And then...
Redo, undo, show side, up, set due date, set location, flag, add tag, share list, more, done, button.
There's a done button. That done button will close the edit field without creating another item. It'll just put this item on the list. So that's up near the top of the screen. You have those items. Those are quick actions too. Due date, set due date. That'll allow me to attach a due date to this particular list item. Or set location will allow me to attach that to this particular item. And then the done button just finishes it out without creating another blank edit field. But I want to do it the longer way because I have more choices that way. So I'm going to go back right to above the keyboard and I'm going to choose the detail option.
Labs. Lab, paste, redo, notes, edit details, button.
Edit details, it's called. Double tap.
Cancel, button.
Go to the right.
Done. Title, Start Experience Lab, notes, text field.
All right, we don't need any notes on this one.
URL, date, off, collapsed.
Let's turn on the date.
Double tap to expand date, more options shown. Month, April 2025, button. Tuesday, April 1st, button. Selected. Today, Wednesday, April 2nd, button.
Now, this is just like the calendar. So if you're not familiar with how to navigate through the date pickers here to pick by, using the calendar, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the previous session when you have opportunity. But I will remind you that vertical navigation is a great way to move quickly through this calendar because you can move 7 days at a time. Now, one big difference I need to caution you about with the reminders is with the calendar, you were able to collapse the date and then go to the time. In this case, you can't really do that because if you turn off the date, then it won't have that specific option. You need to leave the date turned on. So go to your vertical navigation.
Edit. Character at vertical Wednesday, April 23rd.
Because we already have the correct date selected.
Wednesday, April time off.
And just go over here to time and let's
tap to
expand that now.
Time, more options shown. 3 o'clock, 00 p.m. Pick her item.
That's
adjustable.
Absolutely where I want it. So it's gonna
up or down with one.
It's gonna notify me at 3 o'clock today now. Okay, let's go on.
Early reminder, none.
Okay.
Double tap to show context menu.
You can get an early reminder. Let's look at those options.
None, but 5 minutes before, 15 minutes before, 30 minutes before, 1 hour before, 2 hours before, 1 day before, 2 days before, 1 week before.
Look at that.
1 month before, custom, button.
I'm going to actually do 5 minutes before.
5 minutes before.
That way I'll make sure I'm
early reminder, 5 minutes.
On the ball
Double
if I need to be.
Show context, repeat, never.
And we know
tap to show context menu.
We looked at that on Monday as well in the calendar section about how to create custom recurrence patterns and the built-in repeat patterns and so forth. So that's going to be much the same here in reminders. You can choose to have your reminder repeat every week. Again, like the example of paying the bills, you might do that every month. Water the plants, take out the garbage. These are things that recur and repeat. So you can choose a repeat option here. All right.
Tags button.
We're not going to tag this.
Location off, collapse.
Now again,
double tap to expand controls and enable.
I'm not going to go into much of that other than to say that it's really awesome and it works really well. I'll show you very quickly.
Location, more options shown. Current location button. Selected. Home. Arrive. Getting into the car button. Getting out of the car. Custom button. Arriving. Matthew's home. When messaging.
So right now it's set on arriving Matthew's home, but if we choose custom or if we went,
select current location button.
We could double tap on that to change from current location to somewhere else. So this is really powerful. Again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into every one of those, but that's why we have experience labs, why you need to try it for yourself. It really does work. And it's really powerful. So that's locations. Let's turn that off.
Location on. Expand location. Fewer options shown. Location off. Collapsed.
See, it doesn't
double tap.
Just collapse them. It turns them on and off. That's why I said with the calendar, don't try to collapse that date. Go to the right.
When messaging off. Collapsed.
And again,
double tap to it.
We've already talked about what that does. It's really great.
Selecting this option will show the reminder notification when chatting with a person in messages. Flag off. Priority none. List reminders. Subtasks 0. Add image.
Let's just do
flag off. Priority none.
This.
None. Low. Medium. High. Button.
High priority.
Priority high.
All right, let's go back up to the top here.
To show cancel. Details. Done. Button.
And it's done.
Call Thomas about.
And now you'll notice that's on the list.
Take my reset iPad. Do clean my, charge my pack the library. Take out the garbage. Clear button. One completed.
Near the bottom.
Everyday crown. Charge the call Thomas. Start experience lab. Incomplete. Today at 3 p.m. High priority.
All right, it's there.
Double tap to mark as complete.
So we'll be reminded of it a little bit later on. All right, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to a different list because I want to show you how I most often use this app more than anything else. Oh, I have my weekly reminders set and things like that, but I use this more than anything else for grocery lists. Now, we have a shared grocery list. You saw up at the top here.
Show reminder set due date set add share list button.
Share list. That allows you to collaboratively share with other iCloud users and so forth. And we already have my grocery list established and shared. Now, to switch lists, I have to show the sidebar, because on the iPad, that's where the lists are. I imagine that much like in the Mail app, I might be wrong, because I don't remember doing this, but I imagine that much like in the Mail app, if you have the 13-inch iPad, it's going to remain visible, but in this one, let's see what happens when I show this.
Show sidebar.
Actually, I think it might remain visible anyway in this app once you show it until you hide it again. Now that I think about it.
Hide sidebar.
Because we started out with it showing. So let's go.
More button.
There's a more button now in the sidebar.
Hide sidebar. More button.
What does that do? Let's take a look together.
Edit lists button. Templates button. Dismiss context menu button.
All right, so that's very
Hide
simple. We're going to just leave that alone for now.
More. Search today. 3 reminders. April 2nd button.
That's a smart list.
Double tap. Scheduled. 13 reminders button.
That's all of the.
Double tap to view list.
Right. That's all the lists that's all the reminders that have a scheduled alert with them.
All 41 reminders.
Okay.
Flagged. 0 reminders. Completed button. Double tap to view list.
That is across all of my lists. Those all have smart lists attributes, so they're across all the other lists. But now look, we're going to get into my lists.
Siri suggestions.
Oh.
3 reminders. Button.
Okay, I forgot about those.
Double
I'm going
to view list.
Yeah, those are good too. I'm going to look at what that is. But let's go on.
My lists. Heading.
Okay, these are the lists that I've either created or already have.
Grocery shared with Jessica Volbrecht and 2 others. 15 reminders.
All right.
Shopping cart badge. Pink.
And it notice it has a
tap to view list.
It has a shopping cart badge.
And hold, then drag to reorder items.
Right. Notice it has a shopping cart badge and it's pink. You can choose the color and the icon for the list when you create the list. All right, and I'll show you that.
Reminders, 17 reminders, list badge, cyan blue.
That's that
double tap to view list.
There you go. That's that default list we were just working in.
Family, shared with Kylie Volbrecht and 2 others, 8 reminders, list badge, vibrant yellow.
Okay.
Christmas 23 items, shared with Kathy Volbrecht and 1 other, 0 reminders, running person badge, green. Christmas Eve dinner 2024, shared with Carson Volbrecht and 3 others, 1 reminder, fork and knife badge, green.
So we've chosen different icons.
List, Disney World packing list, 0 reminder.
Okay, we don't have any on there anymore. But let me go into, before I go into grocery, let me just keep going here.
TTG recently built. TTG recently tags. All tags. Tags expanded.
You can
Heading.
collapse that.
Toolbar. Add list button.
Notice, and I believe,
Add list button.
yep, that's at the bottom left of the screen. When your sidebar is showing, there is a button to add a new list. And when you add a new list, it looks like this.
Cancel list name. Text field is editing. Insertion point at start.
You have a new list
Use
name.
the rotor to access
Okay, that's where you type the name of the list. So if you want to create a grocery list, you could call it grocery or shopping or any, store name, whatever you want. But that's where you would put the name of your list. Certainly doesn't have to be a grocery list, but I'm going to show you in the next field when you swipe to the right.
List type standard.
You have
Double tap to show context menu.
two choices. Is your list standard, or let's see what the other choice is.
List type standard. Standard button. Groceries button. Smart list button. Undo. Select.
Actually, you have three choices. You can make it a smart list, which you'll allow it to aggregate based on other attributes like due today or, overdue or whatever, right? But here again, standard and grocery are your two main ones.
Groceries button.
If you are intending to create a grocery list, you're going to want to designate it as such right here under the list type. Don't use standard. People forget this step, and then they wonder why their grocery list doesn't act like a grocery list. You have to designate it as a grocery list right here under list type if that's what you intend to do. So you double tap on groceries.
Smart groceries button.
Now I'm going to leave this one alone because we're not actually creating this list because I already have a grocery list, but
selected standard button. List type standard.
Okay, so I didn't change that,
Double
but
colors: red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, selected, blue, indigo, pink, purple, brown, gray, rose, icons, emoji, selected, list.
Remember, I told you that we can change the color, we can change the list badge.
Graduate cap, backpack, ruler and pet file, book, wallet, credit card, bills and coins, free weight, running person, fork and knife, wine glass, pills and stethoscope.
Look at all these choices and a whole bunch more. When we're done, up at the top,
cancel, new list, done, dimmed, button.
There's a done button. Now, because I didn't put a name in here, it's not going to let me actually hit done. We can't create a list that doesn't have a name. And so we'd have to fill in these attributes like at least the list title. But I'm going to hit cancel.
Cancel button.
Again, that's in your sidebar at the bottom left, and that is where you designate what kind of list it is. Don't forget that when we do our experience lab, if you're trying to create a grocery list, you have to make one and designate it as such. Now, I already have a grocery list, so I'm going to open it up by double tapping on it.
Christmas Eve, family, reminder, grocery, shared with Jessica Voldrecht and 2 others, 15.
And now notice that
kids Tylenol.
In this case, the sidebar does not hide. That's what I was going to say. Even though I'm using the 11-inch iPad right now, it does not hide the sidebar. If you want to hide the sidebar, you have to do it yourself at the top left here.
Hide sidebar, show sidebar.
And that's different than in the Mail app. But I've already selected grocery.
Undo, redo, grocery, heading.
So we can look at the items on my grocery list.
Set due date, set location, flag, button.
Those are for each individual item. You can set a due date for a specific item. If you know when the eggs expire, you can create a reminder to buy the eggs that day. Or, the next time you pass by the store, you definitely make sure you need to remember to get chicken. The other items can wait till tomorrow, so you're going to be reminded about the chicken, right? This is for individual items. Let's see what's on here.
Add tag.
We actually just made a trip to the grocery store very recently, so I'm actually surprised there are even still 15 items on here. I wonder if we just didn't mark some of them off, but let's take a look, or maybe they have been added since then. I don't know.
Assign button.
Assign. We didn't see assign before, by the way. Assign is because this is a shared list, so you can assign each individual reminder to a specific person on the list. Okay.
Collaborate, share list, more, produce, expanded.
Notice,
heading.
there's
Double tap to collapse.
There's a category. It's called produce, and it's expanded. So if we want to collapse it, we double tap it. I want to see what's in it.
Lemons, incomplete. New item in produce.
You can add a new item in produce, and I have lemons on there in order to make fresh lemonade coming up here.
Meat. Expanded.
All right.
Ground beef. New item in meat. Household items. Scotch tape. Dish soap. New freezer. Dish. Freezer bags. Oils and new item in oils and dressings. Ranch dressing. New item in dairy. Shabana creamer. New item in personal care and health. Expanded. Kids Tylenol. New item in deli. Swiss cheese. New item in snacks and candy. Rice cakes. Peanuts. Incomplete.
My son likes the rice cakes. He puts the
Raisins.
and see.
Tortilla chips. Incomplete.
I thought we got those. In fact, we did. That's my fault. I forgot to
New item in tortilla chips.
mark it off.
Tortilla chips. Completed. In section. Snacks and candy. New item. Raisins. New item in snacks and candy.
Now notice on this list, the tortilla chips disappeared because I have completed items hidden. I told you I like them hidden on the grocery list because when I'm in the store, I want to just see what is still remaining. So that you notice they disappeared.
Breads and cereals. Mini donuts. Pop-Tarts. New item in breads and others. Expanded. New item. Button.
All right, I'm going to add a couple
Use
things.
the rotor to access completed tasks, incomplete tasks, overdue tasks.
So one of the things I saw here is that there's Swiss cheese on the list. I want to make turkey clubs, and I need to add, in fact, I need to add bread, I need to add turkey, and I need to add bacon because the turkey club calls for that too. So let's do a list.
New item button.
But we're going to do new item.
Use the rotor to access completed tasks.
And we'll start typing.
Cap R.
Whoops.
Delete.
Let's delete that.
Cap
Okay, here we go.
Cap T U R K E Y.
Now,
completion suggestions available.
I'm just going to press return because I have more stuff to add.
Return. Categorize turkey as deli. End editing. Then.
Now, I'm going to keep typing.
Cap B.
Because.
A-C-K-N.
Whoops. We're adding bacon. Now.
Return.
Return again.
November. Categorize bacon as meat. End editing. Then match
bread.
Cap B R E A D.
Now this time, I'm not going to hit return because I don't want any more items for now. So I'm going to go up near the top and hit done.
New item in breads and cereal. Mini donuts. In assign. Button. Collab. Share. More. Done. Button. Done. Categorize bread. Show sidebar. Button.
Now we can look on our list.
Rice cake. Show side. Undo. Breads and cereals. Mini donuts. Pop-Tarts. Bread. Incomplete.
Notice that now bread is there. It wasn't before.
New item in others.
Let's go back to deli.
Peanut. New item. Deli. Swiss cheese. Turkey. Incomplete.
Notice that turkey is now on there.
Personal. New item. Shabana. Dairy. New item. Ranch dressing. Oils and new item in freezer bags.
Check meat.
New item. Bacon. Ground beef. Bacon. Incomplete.
Yep.
Meat.
It's under meat. Now.
Meat. Expanded.
Let's suppose that I realize I forgot to add something else. I want to show you how easy it is to use SIRI to do it. I can't show you on the iPad, of course, because we're in a call. But the way I like to do it a lot is with my HomePods. You could be in the kitchen cooking and realize, oh, I'm out of something. So, Siri, add strawberry yogurt to the grocery list.
Okay, Mac. I added strawberry yogurt to the grocery list.
Now, on my iPad, I will take a look here.
Bacon, ground meat, new item in produce. More, share, new meat, ground, new item in household items, expanded, Scotch tape. Freeze dish, new item in household item, oils and new item in oil, dairy, eggs and cheese, Shabana creamer, strawberry yogurt, incomplete. New item.
And in spite of the fact that the puppy's barking, because my son's probably getting ready to walk out the door, you could still hear that strawberry yogurt was indeed added to the grocery list. And so, you heading out? Okay, not yet. But he had a friend visiting and that person's heading out. So it was the same thing as far as the puppy's concerned. Anybody leaves or comes, that's what happens. But you could hear it. Let's do it again.
Shabana creamer, incomplete.
Had that before, but
Strawberry yogurt, incomplete. In section.
We just added that from the HomePod, one of the HomePods, and praise God, you saw how easy it was. Instantly added to the list across all devices, and there it is. So it's really, really great. You can use, and I will say this about SIRI, she's very capable when it comes to reminders. Like, even if you add one of those things like remind me to take out the ground meat when I get home, she can do that from the HomePod, or, remind me to do this every Monday, or, you can use a lot of those phrases with Siri on the HomePod or on your iPad or iPhone or any other device that has SIRI, really. I guess not the Apple TV, but, Apple Watch, all of that. And it will add the correct attributes to it. So Siri's very, very capable when it comes to the Reminders app and a lot of other things too. All right, so that is how easy it is. Now, what if one of these things is not categorized correctly based upon our particular wants and needs or the way that our store is laid out? I can think of an example. Let's suppose that you put shrimp on the list and maybe it puts it under seafood, but you're planning to buy frozen shrimp, right? So you want to change it to freezer. Well, you can do that. So the way we do that here, we find an item that we want to change.
Household item, Scotch tape, dish soap, freezer bags, dish.
And really, they're all correct. I mean, household items, dish soap, I could see that being under, like, I don't know. That's probably the best option for it. But let's just go ahead and go to the rotor here.
Indent, delete, flag, show details, edit title, enter detail.
Enter detail.
Cancel, button.
Now, first off,
details, done, title, dish soap, notes, text field.
The notes item in the grocery list could be very useful because you could specify a quantity or a brand name or some other reason. Maybe you're putting together a list and you put on there, I don't know, something that is for a specific recipe. And so you want to let the person know or remind yourself why it's even on the list, and you put, for the casserole or whatever. You can use this notes field, but I want to go to the bottom here, 4-finger tap near the bottom.
Add image, button, subtasks, 0.
Swiping to the left now.
Section, household items, button.
And there's your button. You can double tap to change the category or the section that this appears in based upon your wants and needs. I'm going to actually leave it alone, but it will show you all the categories that you have. Let's
cancel, button, close, button,
okay.
Breads and cereals.
Now, again, where did these categories come from? Well, they were created automatically when I designated this as a grocery list. I didn't have to do a thing. All the categories are here. If you need to add any or whatever, you can do that. Remember, there's a more button on your list, and there was an add section option, but we don't need to do that because it has everything we need, and it typically gets it right. There have been one or two things that I've changed because I've needed to in a specific instance. Maybe one time if I make buffalo chicken dip, I use canned chicken for that. So I'm not going to put that as meat if I add chicken. I want it as canned. You might need to change things like that. I think it remembers too from the last time. But, the other way to do that is just put it in the notes again, But if you want to make a list that has your own custom categories, you can do that. It would not be a grocery list. You could just make a list and have your own categories. This would be useful for like a packing list. You're going on vacation or, a trip or whatever, and you want to make sure you remember everything to pack, and you have a category of toiletries and another one of clothing and another one of, by the pool or whatever. You have all these different categories. Now, it's not going to auto-categorize when you create your own categories like that. The automatic categorization only happens in the lists that are designated as grocery. But it is very useful either way. And when we are going through the store, we can double tap any of these items to check them off. Because I have the completed items hidden, I can easily go through the store and never be confused for even a moment about what I did or did not buy, as long as I don't forget to mark something off like I did with the tortilla chips there that I know we bought. And so I marked them off now. But, then if I want to delete the completed items, the way to do that is to first show them. So again, we'll go to that more button.
Show, read, grosh, set, add, tap, assign, collaborate, share, lit, more, button. View as columns, show, map, sort, show, save, show completed, button.
Now,
new item.
Probably haven't done this in a while.
Bacon, income, set location, add, assign, collab, share list, more, 201 completed.
See, told you.
Clear, button. Clear completed items. Older than 1 month, but all completed, button.
All.
Alert, to delete 201 items.
Really
Delete
didn't matter because I had them
200
hidden.
item in produce,
But now,
button. Add tag, but assign, collab, 0 completed.
okay,
More, button.
I want to hide them again.
View as sort, hide completed, button. Dish soap, incomplete.
Now this list is already shared with the family, but notice it has the collaborate option and it has a share list button. You can add more people. So if I go
Redo, groups, set flat, add, assign, collaborate, button.
Let's listen to what this says.
Collaborate. Message, button, video, audio, manage shared list, button, manage shared list.
We'll
button.
swipe out of that. But you see,
Show side.
It's entirely possible. Oh, look at that. I just got a reminder. And what does it say?
Assign.
It's on my watch.
Mark as complete. Start Experience Lab today, 3 p.m.
Look at that. Start Experience Lab today, 3 p.m.
Mark as completed. Button.
Mark as completed?
Dismiss. Button.
Or dismiss?
Mark
well, we're going to mark it as completed because I'm ready to do it. But let's, if you get a reminder on your other devices, you can long press on it, double tap and hold from the notification center, and then mark it as completed right from the notification. You don't even have to open up the reminders app. Don't just dismiss it. A lot of people make that mistake, and then they say, oh, I have 58,000 incomplete reminders. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Well, that's because you didn't do that. So they're actionable. So long press on the notification and then choose mark as complete. Or if you need to snooze it, there's an item usually that says like remind me in an hour or something. Now that wasn't on the watch right now, but normally it will be. And I think probably it's because that was an early reminder. I don't know. But anyway, there is normally that item too. Or that option as well. I just wanted to show you then.
Collaborate.
We looked at that. So you notice you can start a video, FaceTime call, or send a message right here. And then here's the
share list button. Grocery.
Now this shows me
Person.2. Zoom meeting. Suggest Carson, Jessica, Kylie, Suzette, Mom, Cliff, Melinda, Monica.
See, I can add more people.
Suzanne,
down here further.
Mail, notes, freeform, Zoom.
All these different options.
Grocery.
But
people you invite can add others.
That's a button you can.
Button.
See, that's a button. Listen.
People you invite can add others. Forward button.
Because I can change that. I can change the privileges.
Melinda
and
Mom message Zoom people you person.2.fill collaboration grocery.
We're gonna tap off.
Show sidebar.
But notice
lemon
under
flap add tag assign but collaborate
collaborate you can manage the shared list.
Message, video, audio, manage shared list.
Because there are already participants. So
dismiss pop-up.
Okay.
Show side.
And again, you can print these lists. There's so much more. You know, there's templates. We really didn't discuss smart lists in great detail. I gave you a very brief overview of them, but I think I've given you enough to play with and to get you excited about reminders. And I just want to point out one other thing before we start preparing for the Experience Lab. I'm going to see if the other instructors are here and want to add anything, and we'll take a round of questions too. But I just also want to remind you that the calendar will by default show your scheduled reminders. So it's not going to show, you know, the fact that I added yogurt. Yogurt is not on my calendar. But if I had put a date and a time with that, if I had said buy yogurt at 7 o'clock today, that would then show up on the calendar as a scheduled reminder. As I mentioned on Monday in passing, I'm not really too sure whether I like that. I mean, that's not a slam against Apple. You know, praise God, they're always innovating, and it's great that they do it. And some people may really like that. I'm not convinced that I really want to see reminders on my calendar, and so I may still turn that feature off. I was looking at that the other day. The way you do that is to go into your calendars, and then, you know, in that list of calendars, you could hide that one, and then it just wouldn't show on the calendar. It would still show in the Reminders app. It would just keep them separate. Then again, it's really not all that bad. I mean, I don't really care that much. It's not something that, you know, really matters to me if I see it on the calendar. It's not a big deal, not an issue, so I might just leave it alone too. But you have that option. And again, in the calendar app, you can create, when you add an event, there's an option at the top there, event or reminder, so you can create a scheduled reminder from the calendar as well. So there's a lot of deep integration in between those two apps. I prefer to kind of really use them separately, but they do have some overlap on purpose, just to make things a little easier for you. I mean, and why not, I guess, if you really stop and think about it.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.